Well, listening to that is Emily Kenwood. Emily runs a scheme called Time to Talk Befriending. We've talked to her before and it's great to have you back. Good morning to you, Emily.
Good morning, Mark. Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. Just remind us first of all about what your brilliant scheme actually does.
Oh, thank you. We are a befriending charity that supports older people who mostly don't have many social networks or family friends that they're connected to when they're referred to our service. And we match them with like-minded volunteers for friendship and company. And the results of that are just overwhelmingly positive, actually, for both the volunteers and the older people that we support.
What sort of things happen as a result of that scheme?
People's lives literally transform. We do find that when people are referred to our service, we've heard more times than I care to count how people don't have a purpose anymore, that they don't really want to be here anymore because they feel so alone or they feel invisible in the world. And actually, just through the simple act of friendship, connecting them with someone who's a friendly, regular voice at the end of the phone or someone to visit who actually cares about that person, the results are, life changing, as I said. I mean, one gentleman even told us actually that he would rather go without food than a 45-minute visit from his befriender once a fortnight. So I think that speaks volumes about the importance of that human connection.
And what have you learnt about the levels of loneliness and social isolation, particularly, I guess, during the coronavirus, but in more general terms as well?
It has a massively negative impact on well-being. We know that evidence strongly supports that, but we see that, day to day. And I think, especially during lockdown, I think there was an even stronger sense of being captive in the four walls of people's homes. And I think actually for the rest of us, we had a very small insight into what it actually can be like to feel isolated and not able to get out. So I'm really thankful that Captain Tom's been a voice for us in the press, to talk about the importance of talking to older people and connecting with them, because there's so many that are hidden.
Is there a stigma around it? Is it embarrassing sometimes to admit that you're feeling lonely, that you feel on your own?
I think there definitely can be. I think it's very difficult to say that you do feel lonely. And I think that's why perhaps when we receive referrals, it's mostly when people have had some sort of intervention or a crisis that then they're referred into our service. But I think a lot of people perhaps attend groups and lunch clubs or try to get out as much as they can to connect with people, because, it's not easy saying that you feel lonely. But I think talking about it more and recognising that as a society we can all feel lonely at times, especially at the moment, that hopefully that will break down some of that stigma.
Yeah, and definitely, again, going back to COVID-19, that has literally curtailed lots of these activities like lunch clubs and so on. It's
It
meant
has.
in many cases people have been stuck at home on their own.
It really has. I think one of the positives that I'll say, from our perspective, is actually what it enabled us to do is that we know there are thousands of people living in our communities that we're not connected to. And because people were suddenly, at home on their own, we were able to help a significantly more amount of people during lockdown because they came forward through the council emergency hubs, because actually that friendship and connection that they couldn't get when out in the community was now very much needed. So we're really thankful that we could be able to do that.
We've launched today our Pledge to Talk, so this is the idea, and it can be to anybody of any age really, just that one pledge, that simple pledge to talk to somebody that you haven't spoken to in some time. What do you make of that?
Brilliant. I think it's excellent. I cannot advocate it enough. And to be honest, when I found out about it, I actually pledged to speak to friends I haven't spoken to for a long time. We can all get bogged down with life and it's extremely busy, but the importance of connection is so huge, and it makes us feel so much better in ourselves as well, but has a massive impact for the person that you're thinking about. So I
And
encourage it massively.
just one final thought. We were talking a few moments ago about the sort of conversations you might have, and whether you're going to discuss the state of world affairs, coronavirus, whether you're going to discuss somebody's last will and testament. But actually, it doesn't have to be anything like that, does it? It could simply be, hasn't it rained a lot in the last few days? It could be a really simple,
Oh,
basic conversation.
absolutely. I mean, we found even, when people are in the four walls of their homes, just talking about what's outside your window, what can you see in the garden, what have you got in your home, that stimulates, conversations. You've got pictures up that you can talk about, or, it doesn't have to be in depth, it doesn't have to be deep, but it's a great way to share positive stories as well, like what you're doing now to raise awareness. Captain Tom, he's always a great positive kind of role model that we can draw from.
Brilliant. How can we find out more about your service?
You can look us up online. We're tttb.org.uk, or if you're not online, you could call us on 01273 737 710.
Great stuff. As ever, Emily, thank you so much for talking to me this morning. Emily Kenwood there from Time to Talk Befriending, who do great work in the local community. You can find them online. And of course, you can make your pledge to talk now at bbc.co.uk/make a difference.